All right, it is 6 o'clock and I want to honor everybody's time because I know it is a Friday night and we have things we need to do. Those of you that are here, I appreciate you taking the time to come to this meeting. I'm going to be as brief as I can, but still try to cover as much information as possible. So some just general Zoom protocols. I know a lot of you probably know this because you've been on Zoom meetings all summer, but please stay muted unless you have a question at the end. And then if you have a question later on, if you look in the participant, if you click on that, you can raise your hand and then I'll call on you to ask your question. Please go ahead and turn on your camera and center yourself in the screen so that we can see you as we communicate with you later on. If you do have a question, like I said, we're going to address that at the end. So please write it down and save it, and we will address that later. Okay, so let me click on this. So what we are going to talk about tonight, I already went over the Zoom protocols and etiquette. We're going to introduce the three of us directors. If you are an advanced band student, you likely know us pretty well, but if you're a beginner, you are learning who we are right now. For communication, we're going to go over that. General goals for this year, a general overview of Canvas and remote versus in-person instruction, attendance, how that is working this year. I've had a lot of emails that I've been getting because we've not been too clear with that. How we're grading, the band handbook. We've gone digital this year and it's been kind of difficult in learning how to get that to work. Supplies, what is needed this year and where to get. And then, like I said, the question and answer at the end. Oops. All right, so I do have the chat function on. If you guys, some more Zoom protocols, if you will save all your highs and hellos, I know that's great. But if you do have a specific question, I have Mr. Lemons and Mr. Block managing the chat. And you want to be able to see those questions, and those will disappear if there's just a lot of chatter going on in the chat. Okay. Oh, sorry. So my name is Kimberly J. Tucker. I go by Mrs. Tucker, obviously, and I'm the director of bands here at Tennyson Middle School. I am starting my 7th year here. I have taught for 19 years. My first time teaching, or I graduated in the year 2000 from the University of North Texas, and then I taught at a really amazing school south of Dallas, DeSoto West Junior High. They had been chosen as one of the best bands in the world, that middle school band, and performed at a convention called the Midwest International Band and Orchestra Convention 2 years prior to me taking that job. I was an assistant director for 2 years, and then on my 3rd year of teaching, I took over as the head director for 3 years. And then I took off teaching to get my master's degree in performance in clarinet, flute, and then conducting, and graduated with my master's degree in 2007. And then went and taught at another school in south of Dallas at Bussey Middle School. It was in Garland ISD. It was one of 13 middle schools in that district. And I taught there for 7 years and then came to Tennyson. And so I have come with a lot of experience. I've had to teach every single instrument. At Bussey, I was the only director, and so I had to teach all of the instruments. I just have a love and passion for music and for band. But my specialty are the woodwinds. My main instrument is the clarinet. So I teach the beginner clarinets here. I also teach our beginner flutes. That's my secondary instrument. And then as well as the beginner saxophones. And then I lead the honors band. And then I'm going to go ahead and let Mr. Block and Mr. Lemons introduce themselves. Mr. Block, you're up first.
Hi, my name is Matt Block. The students know me as Mr. Block. This will be my 5th year teaching in Waco, and my 3rd year teaching at Tennyson. Just a little bit about myself. I am not from Texas. I moved here from St. Louis, and so it's been a really good opportunity here to especially work with Ms. Tucker and Mr. Lemons. And I really enjoyed teaching the kids here at Tennyson. Just a little bit about my experience in band. When I was in middle school, I was the kid who was always very quiet. I didn't really want to talk to anybody at all. I always wanted to kind of just stay in my own bubble and didn't didn't enjoy school at all, just wanted to go to school, then come home. But what really helped me build good relationships with other people was being in band, and that kind of helped me build my identity and connect with other people. And that's that same kind of joy and that inspiration is what I want to share with all of your share with all of your children. And so I am looking forward for another great opportunity to do that this year.
And I guess that passes the mic over to me. Hey, everybody. I'm Austin Lemons. This is my second year teaching in Waco ISD, as well as my second year at Tennyson. A little bit about me. I grew up in Abilene, Texas, a little further out west. And I went to college at Abilene Christian University. That's where I got my degree in music education. That's where I got my bachelor's. I grew up going to the the ACU percussion concerts. So I took piano lessons from kindergarten until I got to high school, but the thing that really hooked me to music was going to a steel band concert when I was in second grade. And I was just on the edge of my seat kind of the whole concert. And that's kind of what pulls me into not just steel band, although I am really excited that I get to teach steel band at Waco High. So all of you kids who are in band right now, if you want to stick it out through high school, you might get to do another fun ensemble when you get there. But it's not just steel band that keeps me teaching music. It's that whole notion that music can be incredibly exciting, and you never know who you're going to inspire when you are performing in a concert. So I went to Abilene Christian University for my bachelor's and got my music education degree there. Then my wife and I moved out to Alabama. Went to the University of Alabama to get my master's in music performance. And I taught in Alabama for another year after finishing up that degree. And then we decided it was time to move back to Texas. So Waco was hiring, and I got the job here. And so obviously last year was a bit of a interesting first year teaching full time with the pandemic kind of shutting things down for a little bit. But nevertheless, I still really value the relationships that I formed with my students last year. I really value the relationships that I have with Mr. Block and Mrs. Tucker. I think that we're very good professional colleagues. We make a really good team. And I'm already really excited about the interactions that I've had with a lot of your kids in these first 2 weeks. I think we're going to have a fantastic year. I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Ms. Tucker.
So I am honored to work with these incredible gentlemen. I think, like Mr. Lemon said, we make a great team. We balance each other out. We all have different personalities and different strengths, and it's going to make our band program pretty amazing, I shall say myself. So moving on to the next slide. This is our bell schedule for this year. So those of you that are at home and are wanting to follow along synchronously, this is when we are teaching. So 8:30 to 9:15 is our first period. I'm teaching beginner sax in one of the science labs. Mr. Block is teaching beginner trombone in one of the science labs. And Mr. Lemons is teaching our beginner percussion in the band hall. With us having to social distance as much as we can, we are teaching all over the school. So if you do need us, we'll tell you later, it's really important that you contact us through email because even the front office is having trouble finding where we are. Second period is our beginner clarinet. I'm teaching those in our Atlas kitchen. Mr. Block is teaching the beginner trumpets in the band hall, and Mr. Block is teaching our beginner baritones in a small foyer at the front of the school where the elevator is. From 10:10 to 10:45 is our advisory class. We teach non-band students as well, and we teach them things such as character building skills. We help them with their reading and math and just becoming better people. From 10:50 to 11:35 is the symphonic band. On the student schedule, it says non-varsity band. And Mr. Block leads that class, but we are splitting 3 ways. I take the woodwinds, Mr. Block takes the brass, and Mr. Lemons takes the percussion. And at some point, we will rotate around so Mr. Block gets to see all of his students. The following hour, 11:40 to 12:25 is concert band. That's Mr. Lemon's class. And right now, again, we're splitting the same 3 ways. We have C lunch. I know not all the students have C lunch, but if you need, really need something urgent in the middle of the day, you could probably catch us during our lunch. And we're kind of scarfing it down in that 30 minutes. Following lunch is our jazz band from 1 o'clock to 1:45. That's our specialized band that Mr. Block leads. To be in the jazz band, the students are required to be in one of the other advanced bands. And they learn a different skill set for that class. It really enhances their musical journey. The class after that, 1:50 to 2:35, is the honors band. I forgot to say concert band. It should say sub non-varsity on their schedule. The honors band is our varsity band. That is the class that I lead, and we're still splitting the 3 ways. And I will say for those 3 bands, we have posted on the students' Canvas pages our separate Zoom links. And we're at the point now where the woodwinds should be coming into my Zoom meetings. The brass should be going into Mr. Block's Zoom meetings, and the percussion into Mr. Lemon's Zoom meetings, so that they can get that specialized instruction. And then our last class that we teach in the day, from 2:40 to 3:25, I had the beginner flutes in the band hall. Mr. Block has the beginner horns in the orchestra room. And then Mr. Lemons has tubas, but right now they're all virtual. But if some do come back in person, he'll be in that front foyer by the elevator. And then the last period of the day is the best time to reach us if you do need to talk to us on the phone or through Zoom, from 3:30 to 4:15. The best way to contact us is via email, and in Waco ISD, it's really easy to send a teacher an email. It's just the teacher's first name dot last name at wacoisd.org. And I will share this PowerPoint, and has the links already in there to make it more helpful for you. And then I included our phone number. It's the school phone number, and our extension is 5444. Communication from us will be sent out in the following ways. Most often it will be through Canvas. We will be posting announcements. What I did learn about announcements is that they do not pop up on the student's homepage or anything like that. The students actually need to be clicking announcements on a daily basis to see if there are any new announcements. We'll also be using the inbox in Canvas. We'll be sending email through the students' Gmails. And then we will also be using PBIS rewards. Last year, it was a great way for us to give students Texan bucks electronically for rewarding the students for different things. Now this year, they're calling them grit coins, and the students can then spend the money they've earned at our grit store, and they can buy things like earbuds and candy and all kinds of different things with that. But over the summer, PBIS also added functions for parents. And so we will be able to send communication through PBIS. Last year, we used Class Tag, and we're just streamlining, and we're not doing Class Tag anymore, or Remind 101 or anything like that. We're going to do everything through PBIS, so that we keep everything integrated. You'll be able to see how many points your student earned, and keep up with that as well. So I think it's going to be really great. Miss Villarreal said that she was getting the parents' information uploaded today, but there was so many parents that it is taking a while. But by Monday, you should be able to log in and get that all set up, and then we'll be able to send you communication through that. We will occasionally, and I'll show you what that looks like real quick. So if I go to PBIS, it looks like this. Us teachers, we can log in and view our students in our classes. Students can log in and see their points. And now there's the parent app. So you would click that and then log in to get started with that.
And I believe there's also a mobile app. So definitely keep an eye on the App Store for that as well.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Lemons. We also have Charms. We've had that for a while. It is a great tool for us band directors to keep a database for instruments, for our music, and it's a communication tool, and we can record and we can send messages. It has a lot of things. So I wanted to show you what that's like. The actual address is charmsoffice.com. Looks like this. You'll come into the blue login button. Oops. And then you will log in as a parent. The school code is Tennyson MS. And I'll include instructions later with this. I have it typed up. I just need to share it. And then the student area password is literally the student ID number without the S or anything. So if, say, my ID number is 57643, I type that in and enter. It's going to ask the student to change their password. We highly discourage that because the kids will forget and lose it, and then it's difficult to for them to get back in there, for us to reset their password. We can, but it just takes more work. If it does, like, it won't let you in unless you change your password, please save that somewhere so that the students can get in there. But even without that, you can access the public calendar, you can email us, you can see any handouts that we put in there, and the Charms website and whatnot. Not all the students are going to be able to get in right now. If you were not at Tennyson, and if you were not in the Tennyson band last year, you are not in Charms at this point. All of us directors need to go in and physically, manually enter in all the students, and we have not had a chance to do that yet. Let's see who's trying to enter. Okay. Whoops. Trying to see what I have down here. We also have a Facebook page. It's just facebook.com/Tennyson Bands, and we'll communicate through that. We post different announcements, videos, pictures, things like that. That I'm finding that that's the most helpful for parents. And then we also have an Instagram, which I'm finding is more useful for our students. Our students are more into Instagram, and that's more picture-based, and we'll share some different things through there. And then we have a band website, tennysonbands.com. And some things that I want to point out for this, if you click on About Us, you're going to see a drop-down menu. I'm going to talk about the beginning band info packet and supply lists a little bit later. That's where you can find that stuff. Under communication, it's a little bit out of date. There's information on buying instrument insurance. Music enrichment is information on getting private lessons. There's information about volunteering as a parent. And then Step Up Instrument, if your child was a beginner in the past and now wants to upgrade to a better instrument, this gives you some guidance in that. The journal is going to be just some general announcements. It hasn't been updated since April, but during the quarantine, we were posting almost daily what was going on. Probably the most important one as of late would be this instrument hygiene. So you can read about that because that's still very relevant. Under practice, there are videos that I had posted during the spring to help the students virtually. And then links, there's a lot of different links that the students can choose to look at and learn more. And then the contact. I'm not seeing what's going. Okay. Our general goals this year, we've been looking at this in a very positive way. Instead of kind of thinking about all the things that are different and bad about this year, what we're looking at, or the way we're looking at it, is now this gives us a chance to really focus on the individual student growth. In the past, I know, at least for the honors band and the other advanced bands, we had some pressures kind of in the fall to get some performances out probably before some of the students were ready. And now we're not able to do public performances like that. And so we're able to slow down, catch kids up, find them where they are, and really help them to grow individually. So in that, as the students individually grow, it's going to make the whole program that much better. We're also excited to be given all these different technologies and things that we can use, these different platforms, it is a little overwhelming, but a lot of these tools, I wish that we had known about them or that they were available when I started learning in band, or my first years of teaching. It would have made things so much easier. Another goal is that we want to create a safe and inclusive environment. So like I said, we're doing our very best to social distance. The general rule for this other school classrooms, the core classrooms, is they have to try to space them about 6 feet apart. We are spacing our kids 10 feet apart as much as we can, which follows our UIL guidelines. And we bought special PPE, or the district bought a special PPE for the instruments. We have special fold-over masks that we've given to the advanced band members, and we'll start to give out to the beginners as we get into instruments. Bell covers for the brass. There's protocols for emptying water for the brass. They're going to use these little puppy pads that we cut into squares. The students, have to use hand sanitizer when they enter and exit the room. I'm having my woodwinds wash their hands when they're done swabbing or cleaning out their instrument. The flutes are going to have these plastic flute shields to make sure that the aerosols aren't going out. The clarinets and oboes will have like these special instrument socks that they're in prototype stage right now, and we'll use those. And I talk to my advanced band kids, if you as a parent can give up an old pillowcase that you don't mind the clarinet and oboe player, your child, to cut slits in, we can make our own instrument socks in the meantime and be able to play indoors. Because right now we're having to play outside and the weather's not always going to be very accommodating for that. And then our third goal is we want to create and deliver quality instruction to all of our students at home and in person, which is meaning that we're putting in all the extra hours. We don't stop like at 5 o'clock. We go home and we record videos and we make sure we've got good content in Canvas and things like that. So with that being said, we appreciate your patience in us getting our grades inputted and updated and all that kind of stuff, and dealing with us as we're figuring out all the settings, and something might work on our end, and then when the student goes in, it's not working. We're learning as we're going to, and we appreciate your understanding with that.
And we appreciate you letting us know when it doesn't work, because
Exactly.
if it's not working, we need to know, and we need to know how to fix it. So please continue communicating with us when and if and when something doesn't work.
Yes. Overview of technology. So all of our students are using Clever. So it'll look like this. They'll click the login. And then they'll have to click in with their student.wacoisd email address. And then they'll be able to see their different teachers' pages. For their different teachers, they might have resources that the teachers uploaded. For me, I have some links, like I talked about the band website or Instagram, Facebook. I have some backup Google Classrooms that I haven't put anything in case something happens with Canvas. With Canvas. And then the district applications, there's all kinds of different things that the students are going to be able to use. And right here is Canvas. And if they bookmark Canvas, that'll save a step in them having to get to Canvas. There's all the G Suite. I love that Waco ISD has paid for the whole Google Suite for everyone. And all the tools we've been teaching the students how to use and better serve them in all their classes. A lot of the content that we're sharing with them uses these tools. They also have different learning applications that are not band related. There's math and reading and all kinds of games and stuff they can play. But then going back to the next technology is Canvas. So I'm going to go ahead and come back to here and click on Canvas. When the students click into Canvas, they're going to see their dashboard, and it's going to have all their different classes. As a teacher, this is what ours looks like. These are all of our published courses that we teach. When they click on a specific class, I'm just going to pick varsity band, for instance. They're going to see all of these options down the left. It can get overwhelming. They're also going to be able to access their different courses with this little tab. They can just scroll. They can go to their inbox, which I talked about earlier. Now I've got to go back to my course, sorry. And then, but one of the things that I talked about too, the announcements, they'll be able to click on the announcements, and right now there is just the band parent meeting. If they open that, there's the link for the Zoom meeting that you guys are on. What I worked on today actually was cleaning up my homepage and making that like the one-stop shop for most everything the students will need. I know that the other directors were doing that as well. What I'm finding, or what I've been finding, is the students are clicking on assignments because that's the most important thing, right? And they go there and they see like all these duplicates, and then they're like emailing me going, Mrs. Tucker, this is listed multiple times. Do I have to do it multiple times? And then I, of course, say, no, you don't. So if they would just stay on the home page, it's got everything. So I have my welcome, and then I put a link to the modules. Before that, I've just been telling them, go to modules. And the way Canvas is set up is the modules are like the chapters of the book. It's like the different topics. And then underneath all of those are the different assignments or different things that we do in class. I started dating them. And then I even started typing in, you know, this will be a participation grade. This will be a test grade. But I think what I'm going to start going to now is putting a weekly schedule. And then I'm going to start putting links or embedding different things. So Thursday, for example, for Honors Band Thursday, they have a Concert F major scale test where they will record a comment on Flipgrid. And I just dropped it in here. So all they have to do is click on it and they're good to go for that day. I put a whole box on communication. There's the links. I need to add the PBS here. And then our Zoom links, because I know that that's been an issue with some people, is parents finding the Zoom link. So like I said, for Honors Band, we have the 3 different Zoom links. So I try to color code it. Woodwinds is red, brass is blue, percussion is green, put my office hours, and then any announcements. We also are asking our students in all of our classes to fill out a Google form every day as a check-in, a daily check-in. And it's allowing us to see how the students are feeling. Are they eating? Are there concerns that we should know about so that we can check back in with them? And then with that, their responses, we can see in a Google sheet, and it's time stamping it. So if I need to go back and double check, did a student log in on a particular day, I can see based on that form, oh, well, yes, they logged in to fill out this form at 11:35 on Tuesday. Another piece of technology that we're looking at getting is Music First, and I put the link that, like I said, I'm going to share this with you, so that you can go and kind of look around and see all the different things that we're going to be able to utilize with it. There's compositional tools, there's recording tools, there's a music library that the students can play with. It's pretty amazing. And then I showed you charms already. So I talked about attendance. The way attendance is working this year is if a student is present in our room, they're the only ones being marked present at that moment when we take attendance. Even if a student is live with us via Zoom, because they're doing synchronous learning at home, we cannot mark them present. We have to mark them absent. But we have 5 days to go in and change the code for our at-home remote students from unexcused absence to RAL, which is remote at-home learner. So if I remember, for me, if I remember during class, James Nava was live with me when we were in class, right when I'm doing attendance, I immediately go ahead and I change that code. if there were so many people that were live, I can't remember, later on in the day, I'll go back and I'll change the code. I have my specific times, and I believe the other directors do too, that we have our specific times in the day where we go back into Teams, which is what we do attendance, and we change the codes. And then we make sure that we go back and, you know, well, this student didn't log in, so I better check on them tomorrow. It is an extra step, but we're getting the hang of it a little bit better. For grades, we're kind of learning a new system with that too. But in general, we are weighting our participation assignments 60% and our tests 40%. And we're doing our best to label those in Canvas. In Canvas, we can set up our assignments to award them points, or on a grade, like the GPA system, the grade point average, or we can say this is not a graded assignment. There's a lot of different options, and if we accidentally miss marking it as a graded assignment and it's a graded assignment, then we've got to go back and change that. So we're figuring that out, and we just now today were given access, or given a way for us to, once we've graded our assignments in Canvas, to then import them into our gradebook system in Teams. So we're learning all that. But as far as how we're taking grades and things like that, it's the same as pre-COVID time. We're not, you know, giving students a certain number of assignments they have to complete, or a choice board or anything. It's just normal school. All right, next slide. Our band handbook. So we digitized the handbook, and what we're asking you guys to do is download it. So you're going to open it, download it, fill it out, save it as a student's name, and upload it to a Google Drive folder in Mr. Lemon's Google Drive. And I know that sounds like a lot, so I wanted to walk you through it. I did find a special way to make sure that it's going to allow you to fill it and things like that by speaking to Mr. Hatton over at university. So if you are in your Canvas and you go to modules, somewhere in the introduction is going to be the band handbook. I have mine as a link in my welcome letter. Mr. Lemons and Mr. Block, I think, have it as a separate assignment. I'll show you from here how this is going to work. So if you haven't already figured out, anything that is blue and underlined is going to be a link for that opens something else. So in the second paragraph, I walked through this with the students. And the second paragraph is the link to the handbook. It says you can find it here. So you click on it and it shows you a window and you're like, yes, that's what I want to open. So you click that to open it. And it'll show you the entire handbook. But as you scroll through, when you get down to the bottom, you're going to see the forms, but it's not going to be the fillable version. So you can see right here, it's not fillable. So what you have to do is come up here to the download, and you need to download it to your computer, your desktop. Then you need to open it. And if you look up here on my tabs, the view version of the PDF handbook has the red PDF box. The downloaded one that I just opened now has a black and white little earth. And this should be fillable. If I come down here,
I have a question.
I'm going to answer questions at the end. So write it down and I'll get to you. So you type your name in. And then once you've filled out all these forms, some of them are for students, some of them are for parents. If there is like a field that doesn't allow you to sign it in a different field, or like type your name in a different field, because I'm not sure what happened with that. But once you have it all filled out again, you're going to download it again. And what I found on, I'm on a MacBook right now, it just pulls this up. When I was on my school Dell, it allows me to download it as the either the original file or the edited file. If that is what happens with you, you would need to choose the edited file. Then you would save as the student's name. Whoops, give me a second. And then just like handbook forms. So I hear someone talking. If you're not a band director, please make sure you are muted. And then you hit save. And right now it's going to go into my downloads folder. Then you're going to go back to this welcome letter. And it says, save the file with your name, then add it in this Google folder. So we filled it in, we saved it with our name. Now we're going to click on this Google folder. And it's going to open up Mr. Lemon's drive, and he's got it organized by class. So say I'm in the beginner clarinet class, I'm going to open that folder. Just double click on it. I see I've got jades and wands, and I have a test version for me. You're going to hit the new button in your Google Drive, and you get a pull down menu. You're going to choose file, upload. And then you're going to choose the file you just downloaded. We found with the students' Chromebooks, they have to click on like recent, but you'll need to find where you had it downloaded. And you click that and it's going to upload it. One thing is that I put on this slide, there is a Doc Hub extension. So on the school computers, when you go to download it or open it, like it'll say open with, go to choose Doc Hub. If it isn't an option, you can click the plus and then you search for it, and it should be available to you because it's available to everyone in Waco ISD. Let me see if I can do it on my MacBook. I'm not sure if I can. Okay, here we go. Open with, there it is, Doc Hub. If I didn't have it, I would come down here to connect more apps and click on that. And then search Doc Hub, PDF, sign and edit. And then you would install that. So let me show you what that looks like. If I open with Doc Hub, it's taking a little while because it's kind of reformatting it a little bit. It said I previously imported this because I was testing it. It looks a little bit different. It actually allows you in one of the spots to sign it. So let me scroll down to that. Dun, dun, dun. So like I said, Mr. Hatton over at University High, he's the head band director over there. They have been doing digital band handbooks for a while. And so I asked him, well, we're having issues. What's going on? How are you doing it? So you can see these are just your fillable squares. Right here, it says sign here. So if I click on that, I can do sign, and it says use your phone as a finger signature pad if you're on your phone, or you can do draw, and then you can use your trackpad, and then sign. So I'm gonna clear. So I thought that was pretty neat, and I'm glad that I talked to him and figured that out. With this, let me walk you through these forms first. So the handbook, you do really need to read it, even if you are an advanced band parent, because some things have changed. This QR code is a direct link to the PBIS app. This first form is just saying that you've read the handbook, you understand, blah, blah, blah. The student is signing on saying, yes, I agree to band. The second form is that Waco ISD permission to display a student's photograph on our social media, or if Waco, like if they make the all district band and we record that for Waco ISD TV, or we do something and that's recorded by Waco ISD TV, that you're okay with your child being in that. It's just kind of permissions to brag on your child. So some of them allow you to, or ask you, like you have to type in an X, and some will allow you to check mark. I'm not sure why why it's that way. And so right here, like I said, for some reason that field didn't want to populate. So if you're a parent, if you'll sign in the date field and then put the date, that will suffice. Okay. The next form is our emergency medical release form. You might be having to fill out a medical form for the district. We, since we do so much, so many trips and things like that in the usual times, we ask for you to fill out a medical release form so that we have that on hand. In the past, we would hand all the students like a paper handbook and you'd have to fill it out by hand. And then I told the students, you know, we would carry around these huge thick binders everywhere when we would go on trips. And now it's going to be great that everything's digitized because we can just go on these trips with our phone and then access it that way. But, you know, this is going to be a lot quicker if something does happen to your child than having to contact the front office. Then the next two forms are our trip forms. If we do end up going on trips in the spring, the first form is for any trips within Waco ISD, like say we go to McLennan Community College or something like that. The next form is for trips outside of Waco ISD. And then the last form is if you need to borrow a school-owned instrument. And you really do need to read all of this. It is a special privilege for a student to use a school-owned instrument. And we don't ask a lot financially. And so, you know, we are entrusting our, you know, the students with equipment that's worth thousands of dollars. And so this is just kind of showing the seriousness of that and asking that, you know, the students care for it and that you guys abide by that. All right. Let me get back to this. Supplies. Everyone is going to need to be using that Chromebook. Like I said, every day the students will fill in their daily starter and then they might have an assignment that they'll do digitally. A lot of our stuff is going to be listening. So our in-person students are going to need earbuds or headphones so that they can complete the assignment in class rather than have to do it for homework. And then when recording assignments at home, playing assignments and things like that, students are really going to need to have headphones on to make sure that they can like hear the metronome and time and things like that. Our advanced band students, I know all of us use the Blue Foundations for Superior Performance book. It's our method book that has the warm-ups, the scales, chorales, articulation exercises, things like that. I went ahead and just put this link to the publisher. You can see that the books are like, you know, $7 for the most part, and you can order it that way, or you can go to Tarpley Music, which is on Lake Air, or Music and Arts, which is in the Central Texas Marketplace over by Best Buy, and you can get it through that, or you can go on Amazon, but they'll need that book. The beginning band students, it is more involved. They're going to need more. So I have a link that goes back to the Tennyson Band's website. And again, under About Us, you can click that first item right there, and then it's going to give you this. And sorry it looks so terrible, but if you hover over the instrument that your child is playing, you'll see all the different supplies for the instrument. And you have to kind of scroll down. But on each of them, we put a picture of the instrument and the preferred model, make and model. So this is the trombone. The preferred make would be the Yamaha, the brand, and then the model, YSL 448G. And then we have some alternates. And then for the accessories, we've included pictures as well. So all of the students are going to use the Essential Elements 2000 Book 1 for their instrument, and then they'll need different things. For instance, the trombones need slide lubricant, slide grease, water spray bottle, their mouthpiece, et cetera, et cetera. If you have a question about any of the supplies on the list for your child's instrument, make sure you contact their teacher. So again, I teach the beginner flutes, the clarinets, and the saxophones, the woodwinds, Mr. Block, and it'll say on your student schedule. He teaches the beginner trumpet, horn, and trombone. And then Mr. Lemons, the beginner euphonium, which is the baritone, tuba, and percussion. And all of these lists, the Tarpley Music Store and Music and Arts should have them. They are the same lists we've used every year. So if you go into our local music stores, again, Tarpley Music or Music and Arts, and you tell them that your child will be playing the clarinet at Tennyson Middle School this year, whatever instrument, they should be able to look up that list and help you out. If not, they will contact me and let me know. So with that, all the students, need to say this really quick. In the past, we've gone to the elementary schools and tested the students at the end of their 5th grade year to see what instrument they're going to be best suited for. Like we take instrument mouthpieces and things like that. Or if they are wanting to start beginning band as a 7th grader, we meet them during our conference period in the spring of their 6th grade year, and we can see what works. With COVID, that did not happen. So I sent out emails to as many students that I could that I knew had registered for band with a website address, asking them to look at the different types of instruments and let me know their top 3 choices. And then I was able to give that to the counselors, and they put the kids in their first choice. With that being said, the students that I didn't hear from, the counselors had to know where to put them so that they could build the master schedule for everyone else. So I had to randomly just select classes for the students and balance the band, because we can't have a band of like 60 saxophones and no tubas. So I tried to balance it out. And then these last couple of weeks, we've been testing the students individually via Zoom. If we were able to test them in person because they didn't have to take off their mask, then we did that. But I know for flute, for example, I've had to meet with students through the computer so they can take off their mask and they can show me some blowing, some air things that I wouldn't be able to do in person. If your child is in a class right now that they don't want to be in, like we are at the last moment that they can make an appointment with us and test with us virtually so that we can let the counselors know, because the counselors have 2 weeks from the start of school in order to make any schedule changes. So that technically is like today. But from what I'm seeing, mostly the students that I have in my classes, I think are well suited for the instruments that they've chosen or that they're in, the classes they're in, and are good to go ahead and purchase the instruments, because we'd like to start next week. If your child has tested with one of us and they know their schedule is going to be changed, make sure you ask them to log into Canvas and see if their schedule's been changed, and then contact us if you're not sure before you go out and get supplies. I was going to close some tabs, but we'll move on. All right, it's time for question and answer. So if you have a question, if you go, like I said, into participants, you should be able to raise your hand, and then I'll be able to see who has questions. Okay, Jaden, go ahead and unmute yourself and let me know what your question is.
So did you already grade, if the people did flip grid, did you already grade them?
I did, and I messaged you back. Okay, so I saw Kat had their hand raised. You may go ahead and unmute.
So on the assignment, some of them say like missing. How do you turn them in?
So on your assignments, you should be able, there should be a submit button that you can press. And as far as like the missing, like I said, we haven't really all caught up with our grades. So it might show that you don't have a grade yet just because we haven't been able to grade it.
Okay.
Okay, I think next up was James Nava.
If you don't mind, when I get the saxophone that you were gonna rent to me, if
Yes.
you don't mind, are you able to throw in a book too? Because I may need one.
Yeah, if we have extra beginner books, I can put that in there. Yes.
Okay,
If
thank
you've
you.
already asked your question and you don't have another question, go ahead and lower your hand. I'll call on Carla Lucero next.
Yes, this is Julian Abalos's dad.
Okay.
I believe he took a test and he said that he was approved to play the flute.
Yes.
So is the next step for him, would it be to rent, get one through the school, or is he going to have to go to the music store and rent one?
So if you're able to go to the music store, I guess this goes for everybody. If your child is going to be playing flute, clarinet, sax, trumpet, trombone, or percussion, those are all instruments that we would like for you to go to a music store if you are able, because the instruments we have at the school are not the best quality, or we may not have them. I know for percussion, we're very limited. Like for flute, for example, we don't have open hold flutes, which is where the keys, where the kids put their fingers. The open holes kind of make sure that the students have really great hand position because they have to cover the holes. Our student flutes are closed holes, so the kids can develop some bad habits. If you are unable to make it work, then come to us. I will say with the music stores, they do have a lot of different programs. You just got to talk to them. They might have some used instruments. What my parents did is rent to own. So the payments were a lot smaller. It just took a longer time to pay it off. They are really forgiving. Like if you do rent to own and then your child, something happens and they quit after a year, you don't like lose all that money or have to finish paying. They'll just like terminate that contract. So there's a lot of different options with that. But yeah, if you're unable to make that work, make sure you come to us and we'll do everything we can to make sure we can find an instrument. And I almost forgot, we do have a usage fee. You'll notice in our handbook, all the band students, or it's called a course cost. We have a course cost fee of $50 for the entire year for all of our band students. And what that covers is when we have to hire judges, clinicians, our sheet music. The students all get a Tennyson band t-shirt as their uniform as a beginner. And then at the advanced band students get a band polo shirt. So that's included as the course cost. And then if you do have to use a school-owned instrument, that's $50 for the year for the instrument usage. That'll take care of basic upkeep of the instrument. Jaden, you had another question? Or did you just not put your hand down?
I had a question. So,
Okay.
like, whenever we do like the test, what was he talking about? A test that he was approved to do?
So yeah, I met with him. I met with Julian via Zoom last night, and I had him do like the breathing tests with me to see if he was going to be good for the flute, and he passed that test. So he's going to be flute. And you've not been able to do that with me. So if you're able to, at the end of this meeting, meet with me and we can test, we can try that.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. James.
I have another question. For the honors band clarinet, well, actually the whole honors band, when is the test where we have to play? When is the first test?
It's on your Canvas page. It's Thursday.
Okay.
Okay, and then I have Angelicia and Rod Serrano.
Hold on, babe. Okay. Hello, yes, we have a question. Roman, we did not get the emails this summer. We did not know we were supposed to be checking his emails.
Okay.
So he didn't take a test. He didn't get anything. He did get chosen for trumpet, which is what he wanted because we own a trumpet because it was my daughter's from high school.
Perfect.
So I saw the supply list and everything. So what if he goes and he doesn't do well? Do they test for another instrument? Do they keep trying that one or?
So with the trumpet, they're able to test in class. I'll have to let Mr. Block speak on that, but what we kind of test for is, can they make a buzz when we give them some basic instructions, which is where they get their lips to vibrate, which is what makes the sound on the trumpet. And we have them match some pitches we sing to them to see if they have a good ear. And that's kind of the things that we look at. So I'm not sure. Mr. Block, do you want to talk about that?
He's actually going to start school in person on Monday due to extenuating circumstances.
Okay.
He will be there on Monday.
Okay. Mr. Block, are you willing to maybe test virtually with Mr. Block after this meeting just to make sure that that trumpet's going to work when he comes?
Yes, that'll be fine.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Awesome.
I'll try that out.
And then someone said something and it sparked something in my head and then I totally forgot. So we're getting close to 7. I love all these questions. They're really, really good. Mr. Lemons, did you have anything else to add?
No, I think that you covered most of it. As far as like changing schedules at this point in the game, what I think we're most likely going to be doing, as far as like those of you who have not tested yet, if you're scheduled in an 8th period band class, we're probably going to be mostly testing to see which of the 3 instruments that meet during that period you'll be most successful on. Just because we can shift you from one band teacher to another, but at this point it's going to be really difficult to shift the rest of your schedule if you need to move from 8th period to 1st or 2nd period, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's perfect comment. Yeah, exactly. And we're also looking, we're at the point where we're not only trying to balance the band, so we have enough instruments, but we're also looking at space-wise how many people we can accommodate in a certain period. For instance, I just tested a student right before this meeting that is in my 8th period flute, and she needs to play saxophone, and I don't have room in my 1st period saxophone class. So she's willing to go ahead and be the oddball out in that 8th period flute class playing saxophone. So most of my attention is going to be towards the other flute players that make up that class. And then I'm going to have to, do my best to service her on the saxophone and make sure that she's doing well with that. With that, we are trying to avoid mixing, but we understand that that might have to happen. So that's like a one-on-one, instance with us. We'd really rather not have mixed classes if we can help it, if that makes any sense. I hope it does.
Ms. Tucker, we have a great question from Grace. She's asking, if you're a remote learner, do you still need to pay the $50 fee?
Yes, and we will need to arrange like a pickup of the band shirt and things like that, the physical things that you would get if you were in person, if that makes sense. Good question. Jaden, another question.
Yes, I had a question. So, like he said, like, if we go buy our own instrument, and like, if we didn't buy our instrument, would you have to provide that case for it though?
Yes, the case it comes with the instrument.
Cause on Friday, no, it was Thursday, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were outside teaching the 8th graders the flute and the other instruments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a question. Yeah.
Yeah, so they kept their instrument in the case and then took it outside and then assembled it, and then they put it back in the case and brought it back inside. Yeah. And then with the fees, I do want to say this. I know for some, that's a lot to ask for, especially all at once. So even though it says in the handbook that, we're looking for the payment to be due by a certain date, we are totally flexible. If you need to pay, I told the kids like $1 a week or something, $1 a day or whatever you need to do, then that's fine. Or even if you're unable to make a payment, let us know and we'll do whatever we can to make it work. We've had students do some, like be our helpers to kind of work off like a work study program, because we didn't want to deny them the opportunity to be in band because of something that was out of their control. And we know that, you know, this pandemic has been really hard on a lot of people. So just make sure you communicate with us. We don't want to see a bunch of schedules change because, you know, we're asking a financial contribution for the program. And with that, for payment, make sure, if you can, to have the money in a sealed envelope with the student's name, the amount that's in the envelope, and what it's for. I'm going to go ahead and take off screen share. I feel like I'm just talking to the what the heck? Pause share. Stop share. There we go. So we're also trying to get an online payment system going, but we're waiting on the district to get that going. But whenever that is available, we will let you know. And we think that would be a lot safer and probably a lot better for a lot of you guys. So if we don't have any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting. And like I said, I will post the video in all of the classrooms. Everybody say bye. You can unmute and say bye.
No.
Bye.
Bye. No.
No. Angelica and Roman, I went ahead and sent you guys I sent Roman an email about how to get into the new Zoom call with me for the testing.
Jaden, go ahead and when you log out, go ahead and log into the Zoom chat. Did you have a question, Angelisa?
Yeah, so he said go ahead and log off and go click on the link in the email. Is that what he said? I'm sorry.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I just sent an email to Roman, I think. So
Okay.
Went back to you.
So I will.
Yeah, so Jaden, we're gonna log out and then you're gonna log into the Zoom meeting that's in Canvas.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Y'all are amazing.
Good to see y'all.